Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play Podcast, your daily dose of strategies, insights, and action steps to grow your business and build your freedom. It's time to stop playing small and start making power plays.
Hello, and good morning to you. Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play Podcast. I am your host, Valerie Walton, and today we are bringing out a very special guest speaker. So today we're diving into one of the most powerful mindset shifts that you'll ever make, and that is learning how to turn your so-called weaknesses into your greatest strengths. And listen, there is no one better to guide us through it than Bree Lewis. Bree is a mindset coach and manifestation coach and a true self-growth enthusiast. And she's also the creator of multiple faceless YouTube channels with over 63,000 subscribers. One of those channels grew to its first 20,000 subscribers in under a year and is now soaring past 45K. So she is here to show you that the very things that you think are holding you back might just be the keys to unlocking your next level of success. So her topic today is the weakness is the strength. And this one is going to reframe everything. So without further ado, let's bring her on out. Hey, Bree.
Hi.
All right. So are you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Take it away.
Okay. All righty. So like she said, the topic for today is the weakness is the strength. And I'm going to try my best not to run over and spend 18 years talking. So first of all, the first thing that I want to say is that your imperfections do not disqualify you, right? Your shortcomings do not disqualify you. And what I've noticed is a lot of the time, your imperfections are the very things that make you unique, right? And a lot of the time, the imperfections, these weaknesses that you say that you have, these weaknesses that you use to kind of hold yourself back are the very things that a lot of your audience or your demographic will be attracted to, right? It'll be those very things that make them say, oh, wait a minute, I'm kind of like that too, actually. And if you're able to have these disqualifications, right, these imperfections, these weaknesses, and you're able to, achieve success, well, then I can too, right? But we're gonna get into that, okay? So first of all, I am going to talk about my weaknesses as an example, or one of them. I'm not going to tell y'all all the weaknesses because then y'all know how to get me. All right. So for me, I have a few, but I chose this specific one because I felt like this is one a lot of you will probably be able to resonate with. Okay. And if you see me looking, it's because I have my notes. We got to stay organized up in here. They organized up in this club. All right. So for me, one of mine was speaking, right? A lot of you might have a weakness. Oh, I'm not good at speaking. I don't know if anyone's going to listen to me, right? Now, for me, it wasn't so much that. It was a little bit more layered than that for me, right? I thought because of my age, because apparently I look younger than I am. I'm 25. Some people still think I'm like 16 years old. I'm like, no, bro, I can drive. No, I can drink. Okay. I can drink. I can drive when I'm 15. But you get what I'm saying. All right. I'm an adult. And for the longest time, yes, I thought that because of my age, because of my lack of experience, life experience, my lack of credentials, that anything I had to say probably wasn't going to be very important. It wasn't going to be very valuable. It wasn't going to be worth anything because what did I know? Right. And that went for everything in class. Even if I had the right answer or I knew how to get an answer, I would not raise my hand. I would just sit there and be like, anybody else going to answer? Right. I remember when I would go to Bible study, sometimes I wouldn't raise my hand because I was like, well, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. Right. I was disqualifying myself immediately. Right. What else? My mom and my grandma would sit down and they still do today, but they would sit down and they would talk a lot. And, they'd just be talking about, various topics, various subjects, even things that would interest me. And I'd be like, they're grown-ups. The grown-ups are talking. What do I have to say? Right. And I was denying myself a very basic, very human thing, which was using my voice, right? And that is something that all of us have. We just get discouraged from using it. So because of that, I wouldn't take chances. I wouldn't take risks, right? I would not offer my thoughts or my sentiment. And a lot of the time when I wouldn't do that, I would walk away from situations feeling like, dang, I wish I had. Like, dang, I wish I had said something. I wish I had contributed. And I do think that to a certain degree, when it comes to us as human beings, that's on our hierarchy of needs, right? It's even on The Sims too. I know I'm mentioning a video game again, but even on The Sims too, your Sims have needs. So they have hunger, comfort, sleep, environment, bladder, hygiene, and guess what? Social as well. So there is something in that, but I'll get to that later. I'm trying to, like I said, trying to not keep running over, right? So yeah, main weakness was speaking, right? Main weakness was having to step up and express myself, right? And you know what? This is why I think, and some of you, again, probably will relate. This is why I think that I ended up acting some years ago. It allowed me an excuse to express myself. It allowed me an excuse and an avenue for me to be able to say what I thought. And I could do it through the guise of, oh, well, the character said it, not me. It's in the script. I didn't say it, right? So again, it goes to show that I wanted to, right? Despite my weakness, I wanted to push through it. I wanted to be able to say things and express myself regardless. And I said this in an earlier call that I did, right? We subconsciously make these contracts for ourselves where we set up all these terms and conditions for why we can or can't do something. When no one said that we couldn't, we did that. We chose to make it be that complicated, that complex, and that serious, right? So anyway, with that, when I started being able to kind of voice my thoughts and express myself through acting, through characters that I played, I could say, oh, well, this character is like this because blah, 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 right? I started connecting my value to what I did, right? I was connecting my value to, oh, well, I'm only valuable because, I act. I'm only valuable because I have this particular activity or this hobby that I'm this interest that I'm good at, when my value should have always been connected to who I am. Because regardless of what I choose to do, what activities I do, at the end of the day, it was always me starting with the value and then putting that value or transmuting it through the activity that I did, right? And every single person on this earth has value, right? Even if I'm not talking about value like your net worth. Okay, I'm not talking about value like the things that you own that are in your possession. You have value right here, right now, as you are. If you took away everything that you have right now, you are still a valuable person. But we spend our entire lives devaluing ourselves. And again, this is something else I touched on briefly in some of the other calls that I did. So I will summarize. But, there's so many outside sources that contribute to devaluing ourselves as well, right? Maybe, you grew up with parents that were like, you want to do what? Yeah, you're not doing that. Right? Or you grew up, around friends or around family members that were like, that's impossible. Nobody's done that before. None of us have ever done it. So why do you think you can do it? Right. And I will say a lot of the time when people do that, these days I take it at face value, because a lot of the time, while I'm sure people are being well-meaning, they are not putting themselves in your shoes and then seeing the position from your shoes. They are putting themselves with their mindset, their limitations, their boundaries into your circumstance, and then saying what they think based off of that. They are not looking at you and then connecting the dots that way. So they're projecting. That's the word I'm looking for. They're projecting. So I take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, so one thing for me that kind of dawned on me one day was, there's the saying, treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And one thing that I would always do is listen. I'm the kind of person where I grew up listening more than I did speaking. And when I do listen to people, I listen to understand them. I don't listen to respond. A lot of people listen to respond, and they don't pull any value or anything from the conversation or what was said, because all they wanted to do was speak, while the other person also wanted to speak, right? So for me, I thought, well, when I sit down and I listen to other people speak, right, I'm very attentive. right? I don't like to interrupt them. I want them to get all their thoughts out. I want to absorb everything they have to offer. Why? Because I know that they are going to say or do something valuable, and I don't want to miss it. Now, I was able to look at other people that way. I was able to look at them as valuable, right? But when it came to me, putting myself in that same position of, well, when I speak, right, am I viewing what I'm saying as equally as valuable? And the answer was no, right? So maybe some of you are doing the same thing I was doing. You give other people second chances. You give other people the benefit of the doubt. You hype other people up in your head as to why they're valuable, right? For example, if a singer releases an album, right, you will place value on it. You'll be like, oh, before you even get it, you'll be like, oh, this album will be so good. It's like, how do you know you haven't listened to it yet? Because so-and-so always makes great music. They're very creative. They're very this, they're very that. You start assigning all of these variables to you that equate to value. But when it comes to us, we can't do it, right? If there's someone online that you guys follow or listen to, right? You assign reasons of value to them. You say, oh, well, they have all these followers, right? They've been doing this for so many years. Of course they know what they're doing. Of course they know what they're talking about. Of course they're valuable. Look at them. This dude's so good looking. Of course he knows, right? You do it for everybody but you. And a lot of the time we don't realize that we also start to form a bit of a victim mentality around that too. Oh, well, you know, you can look at someone else and say, oh, they've been doing it for so long. Of course they know. Of course they're valuable. Look at all the books they published. Look at the audience they've built. Okay, there's accomplishments that you have too, things that you have done that other people haven't. Like I said earlier, there are experiences, there are things that make you unique too. But you have to take some time out to sit down and not compare, right? Don't compare. Don't try to measure up against someone else. You, in and of yourself, are you valuable with the experiences and all of the circumstances and occurrences that you have gone through, that you have experienced, that you have learned things from, right? This is some of the reason why when something happens, whether it's positive or negative, I always look at it as, oh, well, there's something to gain from this. What is the lesson from this that I can subtract from the situation? Maybe I didn't necessarily get the outcome that I wanted, but there is something to be gained, right? Let's say you do fail at something, right? Okay, well, guess what? There's some value to pull from that. Now you know what not to do, right? Or now you know what signals to look for. But there's always something, all right? So saying it again, you have value, right? People have maybe convinced you don't. They maybe have taken that away from you. And somewhere along the way, you have decided to agree with them. You're like, actually, yeah, you know what? You're right. What do I have to offer? Everything. There are so many people, right, myself included, in my life where, you know, you could easily brush it off as, oh, well, for me, I could say, oh, well, you know, if my mom says something, you're my mom, you don't know, right? Whatever, you're biased, right? Or my brother, I could say, oh, you don't know, you're biased, right? But there are things that I have learned from them or through them powering through their weaknesses that I now use to power through my weaknesses, right? For example, you know, my mom has done a ton of different things. She's lived like 5 lifetimes in one lifetime. I'm like, how did you do that? Right. And again, with me feeling like what I have to say wasn't valuable, or I never really have anything to contribute in comparison to my mom, you know, she's a certified yapper. She always has something to say, and she's going to make sure that she says it, and she's going to make sure that, you know, she's going to make sure that she gets it out. And I've been able to watch and see how she's been able to transform and help people out simply by talking, by sharing who she is, what she is, how she is. And when you see someone else doing that, when you see someone else stepping into their purpose, stepping into their value, sharing what makes them them, that in a way, right, subconsciously for a lot of us, it makes us want to do the same thing, despite the weakness being there. Like I said, I had my weakness of not really wanting to be able to speak, not feeling like I could express myself. And then I found a reason to be able to do it anyway. Right. And, you know, fast forward all these years later, I have friends of mine that will specifically come to me and say, hey, I want your thoughts on this. I want your opinion on this. I want to know what you think specifically. Hard contrast, right? From me trying to find ways to not open up, to not speak, to not use my voice, to not power through my weakness. And for a lot of you guys, that very thing that you're like, oh, I don't know, that's really hard for me to do. That thing is the very thing that you are supposed to do. It's the very thing that you're destined to do, that's aligned for you to do. And maybe to a certain degree, that's why it's a weakness. Maybe that's why you're having such a hard time powering through it. There's a subconscious part of you that knows that you can do it. But there's that self-sabotage that keeps coming in. It keeps blocking you, right? And another thing I will say, like I said earlier in the call, was that your weaknesses a lot of the time are going to be what attract people to you. You'll notice, for me, right, I had a bunch of people, once my YouTube kind of blew up, right? I noticed when I checked my demographics, a lot of my audience was around my age, females, girlies like me, right? And a lot of them were like, wow, it's so nice to see someone that is doing this, right? Finally, someone that looks like me, finally, someone like me that's sharing what they think, someone raised similar to me. And that is what a lot of people are looking for, right? Community is a very underrated thing, right? When we connect with people, when we meet people, for some of you, even some of the people that you guys follow and you look up to, you see the value in those people. And because you see their value, that makes you want to step into yours as well. Now, maybe you don't think about it that way. It doesn't come off to you like that initially. It's just, wow, I really like this person. It's just something about them. But that's what it is. It's that value shining through. And you're hoping that some of it rubs off on you, right? Now, what I will say is, a lot of us don't take the time out to work on those weaknesses, to even see those weaknesses or acknowledge them, because we get told, well, don't work on yourself. Looking at yourself, that's selfish, right? Go help other people first. But let me ask you something. How in the world are you going to help other people and help them get through their weaknesses and discover what their weaknesses are when you haven't taken the time to build yourself up to be a pillar to hold them up, to assist them? It's not impossible, I will admit, but it's going to be much more effective when you take the time out to build a foundation, or you create yourself as a foundation for whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? So for example, right, let's say we have 6 men that are moving furniture, right? They gotta pack up a whole house, and they gotta put everything into a truck, right? 6 of them. And now let's say 2 of the men in there are like, look, obviously we got a lot of work to do, and you know what? I want to prepare. I'm going to go take some time out to go build some muscle. We're going to go to the gym for a couple hours, get the blood running. Okay. Get the muscles working, and then we'll come back. And some of the other men in the group that don't go to the gym, they're like, you're going to do what? You're going to go to the gym. You're going to go work out. Don't you see all this work we got to do, bro? Don't you see all this furniture we got to move? How dare you go take time out for yourself? How dare you go take 2 hours to go lift? We all got to work on this, right? But the 2 guys go to the gym anyway. They work out. Now, mind y'all, the gym don't work this fast, but I wanted to give y'all a decent example, okay? But they go to the gym and they're like, all right, they lift weights for a few hours. They come back. Now, mind you, they only took 2 hours out of the whole day of moving furniture to go do this. Just 2 hours on themselves, 2 hours working on the weakness, acknowledging the weakness, and doing what they can to make the weakness no longer be a weakness, right? They come back and they're able to lift furniture, and they're able to do it 2 times the speed. Why? Because a portion of the group is strong enough to lift everything. So they get it done faster. Now, mind you, the entire group, all 6 of the men are the ones moving the furniture. Only 2 of them went to go work out. And yet those 2 doing that helped everybody be able to get the job done. Get it done faster. Right? Another thing that could happen, let's say because those 2 guys built up their stamina, right? Built up their strength. And some of the other guys, the 4 that didn't work out, they get to go and rest. While the 2 dudes like, yeah, we got it. Y'all go relax, right? So again, benefiting the group. All because they took time out to work on themselves, to face the weakness instead of glossing over it and trying to power through it. Well, you know what happens when they power through it? It takes them longer to get it done. It is not selfish to work on yourself. It's not selfish to take time out to uncover and blow the dust off of your value. You are not only, it's a 2 birds, 1 stone situation. You are not only helping yourself and enriching yourself, you are helping the people around you. My mom decided to just change her mind. She was like, you know what? I'm going to go from doing hair to not doing hair and doing this. And in my head, I was thinking, that's kind of crazy. This is like a weak spot for you. How you just going to shift from one thing to another? Do you know what you're doing? And then I watched her do it. And then watching her do that, watching her believe in her value, believe in what she had to provide, believing, it wasn't necessarily, the hairstyling that made her valuable. It was the work ethic that she puts into the things that she does. It was the focus, the dedication, the integrity that she put into everything she did. It didn't matter what activity my mom did. That value was always going to break through it. But watching her do it in that way made me realize, I guess I could do the same thing too, can't I? I guess I can just make a shift, a change of mind, and decide to just tackle something else, to tackle something new. So it's the same thing for a lot of you, right? And maybe, maybe you're not like me, right? You don't have necessarily your parent or anyone like that. You can find people like that, find inspirations, right? Aside from my family, I've been reading a lot of Toni Morrison lately, a lot of her books, and reading up on her life and realizing, wait a minute, we're actually kind of similar. And let me remind you guys, I said earlier, a lot of my demographic on YouTube was similar to me. Right? But not all of your inspo has to be someone that's exactly like you, right? For another example, I like Bruce Lee a lot. I mention that man a little bit too often sometimes. But I see a lot of the value in how he does things and what he says, right? There's one quote from him that I really love that is along the lines of, when you're learning something new, you take what resonates, right? You add that in with the knowledge that you've acquired and the things that you do know, right? The strength that you do have, you mix it all together. And then the things that don't really resonate, you toss it out, you throw it out. You don't have to be like a sponge and absorb every single little thing that someone says. There might be certain things that don't align with you, and that's fine to toss out. But my point is value. He provides just as much value to me as someone completely different provides value to me. And it's the same thing for you, right? Don't overthink it. Oh, well, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if these people are going to understand me. I don't know if I'm going to attract the right audience. Just focus on you. You are going to be like a magnet to the people that you need to be a magnet to. Like I said earlier, just your lived in experiences alone make you unique, make you valuable, right? You could have a twin, but y'all would not have the exact same knowledge, the exact same experiences. You both, even as twins, individually, will have different things that you contribute, different things that people are able to connect to, and both of you would still be able to be a success. No one would be taking from one person or the other person, right? So, I guess that's it. I said I wasn't trying to run over the time. I still did a little bit anyway. But like I said, try to take some time out to look at your weaknesses, but also realize that they're only weaknesses right now because those are areas that you have not tackled yet. And those are areas that you have disqualified yourself from tackling. You have made it be this huge mountain, this huge hurdle that you can't get over, when all you need to do is just start walking, start hiking up. And eventually you'll end up at the top of the mountain and you will have conquered it. Weakness to strength. All right.
Awesome. I absolutely love this. And I got so many notes that I can't cover them right now because it'll be another half hour. But one of the things that you mentioned was when we say to ourselves sometimes, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do that. You're right. You don't know. So instead of thinking about, I don't know if I can, what if you could?
Yeah.
And if we reframe it to be more like, I don't know just how powerful I'm going to be. I don't know just how successful this is going to come out to be. I don't know just how much impact I'm going to have on people's lives in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go find out. See, that makes it more exciting instead of scary.
Right.
And that is one of the things that I have definitely lived my life on. I'm really glad you noticed. You're sitting there and I'm like, oh, this kid's mom is awesome. And I'm like, oh, wait, it's me. But yeah, I really love that. And you guys, it's the same. I want you to, instead of feel like, oh, well, I haven't been invited to the table, invite yourself.
Yeah.
Invite yourself to the table, or make your own table, or whatever it is that you need to do. But just like Bree said, if we build up this mountain, guess what though? Even with that, you can just take a step and start climbing up the mountain.
Yeah.
If it's a weakness, it can be developed into a strength. And in the interim, focus on where you already are strong, and use that to your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that has made me resourceful. I don't see problems. I refuse to. You know what I'm saying? It's let's oh, there's a wall right there. Well, if there's a wall, there's a door. There's an opening somewhere, a wall, a door, a window,
Mm-hmm.
a port, something. I'm getting in. I'm getting in. And I really encourage everybody to play back this podcast episode as much as you can.
And I will say that what you just said earlier kind of correlates with, I think it was the first call I did where I had talked about, it's not that you can't, you just haven't done it yet.
Exactly.
I feel like those kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just go watch all of Bree's episodes. I mean, they're really good. And honestly, we've got some amazing leaders here who are covering such great topics.
Yeah.
Such great topics. So if you're loving the podcast, imagine what it's like to actually be a part of this community where we're not just giving you the morning espresso shot of encouragement, but we're also giving you the training, the skill set, the tools. Ooh. Now, with that being said, let's just recap, because the truth is your weaknesses are not what's stopping you. It's actually the raw material for your strength. And inside the Profitpreneur membership, we help you to take those messy, imperfect pieces of yourself and your business and turn it into a powerful brand, a system, and a strategy that actually works. And along with that, you've got a team of experts in your back pocket and a community where you can feel safe to be able to make your mistakes, do your practice runs, and to grow. We're here to support you. So go ahead and start your 14-day free trial today. The link is in the description box if you're watching from YouTube. If you're watching from another platform, we will put it in the comments, or you'll see it in our bio. Okay. So just remember, your next strength is already inside. You just need to activate it, and we're here to help. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you back here same time tomorrow with a new guest and a new topic. Take care.